Since launching Votemo, I've been daily thinking of how to engage people more, how to create better engagement plans, and I'm happy to share my thoughts today. Here with me I have Kaisi. Would you be so kind and just tell us a few words about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a coach, team coach, and I also do sometimes public speaking. And I see public speaking, for me, the most important is how to keep people engaged. I can do a big talk, long talk, but how long do people retain the information? And usually when I just speak, I know the science behind that is that they retain the information only for maybe a week or two, and then most of it is lost. But how they are engaged, I always think of that, and how they get the most benefit for the longest time for them.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that Kaisi came and is here with me today to discuss some parts of the engagement. We are really happy to go through with the topic and give you some realistic great tips how to use engagement and interactivity and how this will make your presentation better. As this is a presentation about engagement, then please look next to the video on the event landing. You can find the interactivity part where you can share your thoughts. And on the screen as well, you can see the QR code. So if you're watching from YouTube or like to engage via your phone, then go ahead and enter the QR code. Why the interactivity will be important for us today is that we will use your thoughts and conclusions on the polls to make some points. So please be so kind and answer. We are using interactivity layers, so on the video I can see already your answers and your thoughts. I don't need to even stop my presentation and go to look for them in some other place. So join the conversation. And what is our goal today? The main goal is for all of you to create better and more engaging presentations in the future. And if you are already doing a great job, then I believe you will get some tips how to invite more audience to participate. If you are an event organizer, then I believe you will get really great tips and tricks how to give the technology to your keynote speakers and how to just mentor them some more. So join the ride with us. And the next topic and slide would be about what makes keynote speak memorable and inspiring. And I will tell you what I think and then ask you, Kaisi, as well, your thoughts. For me, one memorable keynote speak is, it has definitely one clear idea that the speaker wants to deliver to the audience. And the other thing is that I need to understand that the speaker knows who he or she is speaking to. And I have one great example. I think it has happened many times, and I remember one time really clearly when sitting on a marketing conference, and the speaker was from a great company, but all the content was meant to more junior people, and all the people sitting in the room were marketing executives. So it doesn't mean that the presentation itself was bad or the presenter was bad, but just the key element that you don't understand who you are speaking to. And I believe that when these two things are covered, that there is a one clear idea that has been delivered, and also the insight from the audience, then it's already a great success. How about you, Kaisi? What is one thing that makes a keynote or any speech memorable and great?
For me, definitely that the person who is speaking is authentic themselves. They don't try to be anybody else. And the other part is that the topic he or she is speaking is really relatable to all the audience, that they can relate to it, what they're speaking, that they can really feel. Mm-hmm. Then they can really recognize themselves in that. And that's for me those are for me most I remember those speeches the most.
Yeah, and I know that you are performing yourself as well and doing keynotes. Do you think? How do you think before going on stage about the audience? Do you look around who is there, or do you Google before who attends this event? Do you have any practice or customs that you do before the event?
Mm-hmm. It depends, who do I speak to? If the audience is like free flow, anybody can come, mm-hmm. then it's like a bit like harder version. Or if you go to a company, then I can ask the manager or the owner, like who are the people, what they have, what kind of presentations they have had before, or what is the real need. Yeah, so I try to be more engaged in that also. But sometimes when the public is like really, when the audience is really open, then it's like really complicated. I don't know mm-hmm. what to tell them, or am I relatable, or yeah.
Nice. Thank you for that. It's I can relate. I can definitely relate to that. And if we continue with the presentation, then at some point, let's look at the data. I hope everyone who has joined live has given us some answers, what you want to learn today. So I will try to make more cases and points based on that. So please do engage with us. Now I see the results already on the screen, and the main thing ruling is get inspiration, and definitely we will try to inspire you and also give you some practical inspiration toward the second part of the webinar. The next slide I would like to point out is, I think clear for all of us, but just to remind even to myself that it's all about the audience, not about you. Because I feel that, I read that average keynote speaker spends like 30 to 100 hours preparing for the keynote. And I can totally understand that while doing that, you deep dive into the subject and you feel you have so much to share and that people are coming to listen to you, so you just want to do the sharing. But still to keep in mind that the audience is the main part, and maybe they will feel difference in a shift in a conversation when you add them, when you ask some questions, and even before the conference is starting. So I think that if you're performing on a big stage and you know that so many like thousands of people will be there, then it's a great idea to ask even the event organizer to send some questions beforehand. And to get the data about the audience, because then both of you will be happy, and you can do a more professional job knowing who you are talking to. The next slide is about keeping attendees engaged, and that the surveys say that it's the biggest challenge of event industry. here it's mentioned that for hybrid events, but the same thing is for in-person events, and that it is counted that for conference and presentation, roughly 18 minutes is all that a listener can have attention on you. And it is totally logical data. I think that when you're doing a focused webinar like we are doing currently, then people come to hear only that. But if we imagine a 3-day conference and there are 100 different speakers and people need to give so much attention that we can see all around the room that they are going to their mobile phones and computers to do something else. So I do believe that engagement and interactivity and getting your own engagement to them, not sending to them to read news and scroll in Instagram, is a great idea, because the data definitely shows us that by doing that, by engaging people, you can increase the attention span, and people will feel that they are included, they will be more interested, they will have a feeling that their input really counted, and your presentation is based on that. Kaisi, I would ask you, what has been your biggest challenge if you have been talking with public and with audience to get their attention and to keep it?
Yeah, it really depends again, but the same thing if it's a really big audience, but if I do it on video, then that's the most challenging for me, because in room I can read people, but if I speak to a camera, then I'm clueless what is going on, if they're in Facebook or shopping, and then when I don't get the feedback, I don't know if my speaking or my ideas are landing, or they're just like, wow, that doesn't like resonate with me at all. So for me, that is the most challenging.
Yeah, of course. I can understand you that the online event era has brought us to the fact that some people might be attending your online event, but only hearing you, not seeing you at all, and doing something else totally.
Yeah.
And I can see that all the event organizers are tackling this problem. And the other thing is that when the event is hybrid, then you have to think both people sitting in the room and how to keep their attention, and people joining in from online, and then people who attended physically afterwards will go to the platform or where the content is and look at the content. And I would like to suggest for them also to leave the commenting and Q&A open, because they are taking in the subject as it was in live, so they might have some questions as well. So yeah, everybody who is listening now and you're watching the recording, please feel free to ask questions even next to the recording. We will come back and answer your questions later, and during 2 weeks we can do it definitely. I can see one other result being broadcasted on the video. What kind of interactivity have you used so far? And the main solution has been Q&A and microphone solution. And I think it is great. And I can still see it not disappearing anywhere, and some people really like to share their thoughts, stand up and talk, but the data is also showing that when doing that, then more introvert people will not give you their thoughts and their answers, and I think that then what might happen is that the smartest person doesn't give their thoughts, because he or she might not want to publicly speak. So when using some kind of technology where they can write their questions and send them some other way, then you will get just more feedback and more live feedback. So if as an organizer you really like the microphone one, then I would do both. I would send some questions via, for instance, Votemo or platform you are using, and some via microphone. Nice. Let's move on to the audience, and I think the really easiest for things to remember is who will be listening, what do they already know, what do they need to know, and what they are interested in. And if you know the answers, then you are doing a great job. Then to understand your audience, and this example is based on a bigger conference. Then I just wrote, sorry for the small text, but I just wrote some list that you could ask for event organizer. For instance, detailed info about the audience attending, how old they are, what is their education. They might have this info. Look at the conference social media and hashtags from the year before. Ask organizer for audience reviews from the year before, so you can understand what the audience liked and what not, and base your presentation on that data. Ask your own social media followers, or use Votemo or some kind of survey to get data what people would like to hear. And you can also ask the organizer or send yourself a form out there, and even get the audience to answer a poll and decide what kind of case study you will present, or what kind of practical tips you will show. Yes, and then interactivity in your presentation. What is the main point of today's webinar? We will go through some tactical tips, and just to introduce the subject itself. Then, the main idea behind it is that it should be two-way communication, a discussion, not you just presenting to the audience, but they will feel so much better if the audience can be part of the presentation. And then how to plan engagement for your next event. I would definitely do a tactical engagement plan for the whole event, for the whole conference, for 3 days, how I will engage via marketing when people are present, when people are online, after the event engagement. But currently, if we are focusing on keynote speakers and presenters, then I will be happy to introduce you some technical tools, and still suggest to make a concrete plan how you will or how you can use the engagement when doing your next presentation or webinar or seminar. Kaisi, how about you? Beforehand, have you planned any engagement, or as you are such a good person reader, do you just see how it feels and look their faces and decide by the go?
I always plan engagement. I plan it so that I ask questions and people can raise their hand if they agree with me or if they resonate. I put them, if it's on web, I put them in breakout rooms, or if it's live, I really ask people to share, like people in two groups or in triads, so they can really retain the information or share some great ideas and learn from each other. And I see that's really beneficial, then they learn more. And also, yeah, I want to ask always like feedback to be better next time. But also I remember that that's one of the one thing that I miss, because usually people, if they can't give feedback like right away, then it just goes away.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. I also, well, I said I like to plan as well, and I think what I have been missing years back is that I didn't ask to review my own presentation and feedback, and somehow I felt that, oh, what, it's over, what can I do with it? But currently I could see that you know, like, even if you ask feedback and even if you get not so good feedback, then the person giving it also opens up, and you get better, and overall it's only a positive thing, and by doing that then we can create better events in the future. Some practical tips I would like to share next. And just to start with, what are the main engagement and interactivity solutions out there from the technical side? So mainly used is Q&A, chat commenting, virtual rooms for one-on-one meetings or group meetings, reactions, emojis, polls, quizzes, gamification, and definitely a word cloud. So a lot of them are used for ongoing engagement and interactivity, but also I really like the word icebreaker, and this means that, you know, when it's 9 in the morning and big conference is happening, instead of coming to stage and just starting it with introduction like we did today for the online webinar. But on the stage, I really like those icebreakers, to use word cloud, just ask people something like, what do you hate about today? And see, you know, and make a joke about it. So these are all technical solutions here, but I mean, it's great to get creative and thinking how creatively and differently you can use this technology out there. I have some thoughts, a lot of them, but also if you have a creative people, a person in a team, then help them to help you with creativity, with engagement. Technical solutions to do those that I mentioned. First is Votemo, of course, the one that we are using currently, because this is this is the company I work for, and I think we have a really great solution with video overlays, and you can do chat and Q&A and all the polls. Compared to other solutions that I mentioned here, we have the video overlay and e-commerce solution for keynote speakers to sell books or tickets or to collect donation, for instance. And the second one I mentioned on the slide was Slido. Slido has been on the market for a long time, and yeah, I believe they are a great solution. With slightly different opportunities, and Mentimeter also similar. They don't have the video overlay as well, but they are a great tool. Kahoot, it's has a little bit more gamification. I have used Kahoot when teaching younger people, because you can create a game and points. Maybe not the best solution for a bigger conference, but you can check it out. Then event platforms have their own built-in tools, and for instance, Zoom and Hopin and Brella and others, they all have Q&A where you can ask questions. And yeah, if you want to add something extra and on top of that, then you should go ahead and use the tools. Then there are videographic extensions, like with what you can do your own overlays. And yeah, Votemo has video overlay that you can brand, but then there are still bigger events that might build their own from the scratch, like Olympics or Eurovision. So you always have option for that as well. Yeah, I would just like to mention the video engagement tools for engagement and monetization. Votemo offers commenting, Q&A and word clouds, reactions, different kind of polls and e-commerce solutions that you can use, and the overlays you have been seeing on the video already. So, so take a look if you're interested in that. More practical tips coming ahead now. So I would like to start from what we have been talking the most, the insight and the practical tip that you might consider asking the audience what they want to know and learn beforehand. Sending them material and just doing a small research. And if you have a conference organizer, then definitely ask them as well. They might already know the answers. The second tip is communication and the ongoing communication with your audience. So just to keep the communication going, ask for them to ask questions. Like I said, I would suggest to use technical tool next to the microphone solution, because then more shy people can get their thoughts out there as well. And I will just go and look at the poll. What kind of interactivity have you used so far? So first is Q&A and mic solution still. And the second one is engagement in social media. I mean, it's great solution, to attach your social media accounts also to the event, and it's great to see that this is something you have been using. I think it's like Kaisi has said before as well when I asked that it really depends what kind of event it is. If it's like a bigger conference and or a smaller morning inspirational event, and I mean for the future. Probably most of the events will stay in hybrid, and this is what the data is showing all of us, that it will be more sustainable. People are working in offices globally, and they will not be all traveling to one place to go to the event. So some people will attend physically and some online, so the hybrid events are here to stay. And when planning the communication, I think it's a really great idea to think of the technical solution that will support both groups, that both of them will have the opportunity to interact with the performer. And then icebreakers. Yeah. Icebreakers, I think the speakers really love them. And you know, the icebreaker might be that the keynote speaker is telling you, everybody stand up, start clapping your hands or dancing or something like that. But then one of my own favorite one is the word cloud solution, that you know the time even that the people are gathering in the room, you already have the word cloud on the big stage and people already are answering. Maybe it's something funny like we mentioned before. So while people are waiting for the event to start, they can already do something and get in the mode. I love it when it's a little bit funny, but of course it might be on a serious subject. And overall, I think word cloud is my favorite. And then there is also poll, Q&A, and different solutions mentioned before. Oh, I can see a question. What is the best engagement solution for conference speaker? So for the conference speaker, I would start asking if the conference has already some technology that they are using, then they might want you to use the same solution. If they say that you can use your own, then I would choose from the ones that I presented before. And of course, I believe the Votemo is the best. But yeah, I think you have really great solutions out there. Yes. So let's get back to more questions later, and I'm just looking. Does the technical team want to tell me something? Please come back and tell me. Are we somehow doing something with our microphones? Okay, all good. Thanks. Then the other thing is check in with your audience. Take a look at the poll results, make a joke based on that, and make a point based on that. And I believe that, you know, when we were talking about make a really concrete plan, then it is also really nice to keep it like natural. And for instance, when I see now some question popping up, happy to answer it. And if I would see, if we would see some maybe really critical reaction, also, you know, to target that. So I mean, when doing the engagement plan, you can base it on a timeline, or you can base it on how much results come in during the presentation. Polling is a next practical tip that we would like you to consider. And one great idea about polling, and if you are, for instance, giving a presentation on I don't know, climate, environment, sustainability, then you know to use this poll and ask the audience how they will drive a positive impact based on the subject on hand. And I mean that with this kind of poll, you can get the audience thinking how they can change something in the world, make a positive impact, change their life, drive something positive. So I really love this idea for a keynote speaker to make the audience feel afterwards that this speak and content they heard really changed something in their life, and they want to start driving change. And yeah, maybe Kaisi, as you are expert, on coaching and driving change, then I just got this idea now when speaking that that this kind of interactivity tools could like have a really powerful impact, and people could go along and think what they feel. But my question would be for you that if you are doing some team events or coaching, do you often see that when people engage more and share their thoughts, do they get to some result that is driving this positive impact?
Yeah, definitely. If they can share more, then they retain the information for longer, as you shared in the beginning. And they really then think it through. And if you can speak it out, the words have definitely a lot more power than just keeping them inside. Or if you can write them down or write them public, I'm really big believer then the change can really make happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really great to hear. So I think this is the also positive side when engaging people.
Definitely,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Let's look at some other results. I already saw it was what would you like to learn today, and now get inspiration. I
get inspiration about public speaking.
Yes.
I see. Yeah.
For me now, my eyes stopped reading from that far away. Yeah, it's. I hope you get some inspiration and definitely from the engagement part, and some thoughts how to practically use it. And the last practical tip before we go to the Q&A part, and I do hope that you have sent us some questions, is to finish your presentation with the feeling that audience input is important. And I feel that a lot of you are already doing it when doing the Q&A session. You know that you talk about a subject that is important, and then people get to ask questions. And this is a great way. There are other solutions. Maybe you created a poll, and based on the answers, you are donating money, or you are based on that you are gonna teach some children, or you're gonna do some other switch in your life, or the audience are gonna do in theirs. So I think this feeling can be created in different ways, and it's really important. And still, the most common ending as Q&A is one of the best. I think it helps to end with open communication. But if you are looking for a different ending on a big conference, because everybody is doing Q&A there, then do add creative people into this process, and ask them how how to create ending with impact. And now, Kaisi, I ask from you as well, like, do you have any suggestions or a great experience with some conferences or keynote speakers ending their presentation?
Yeah, there are so many different ones how you can end.
Yeah.
For me, is different ones that I use depending on how big is the audience. If it's like 100 people, then I can really ask them just like one word what they got from today. Or sometimes I ask them to do with something with their body to show with their hands, like how much benefit they got from this day. Or sometimes I just ask them to share, like I shared before in groups or in pairs, like what is the one key takeaway that they take from this day. Or sometimes I ask how they feel, but based on maybe on weather, so they don't have to tell like good or bad. They are like sun is shining, or just to get the feedback from their emotions. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah. I feel also that this is a really great way as well, to ask people to show with your hands how well they are feeling. So I think we will end with Q&A and look if there are any great questions that we could answer. Dan is asking, what is the best engagement solution for conference speaker? We did get this question beforehand already and answered, slightly answered. So from my side, I will answer again that it would be to use the solution that the organizer is using already, so it applies to all of the presentations. If the organizer is okay for you to use your own, then take a look at the list I had there in one of the slides before. And of course, Votemo has all the functions you need, and consider us as well. So the next question, how to motivate more shy people to speak. During online events, example, corporate events, when employees' input is very important. Yeah, a great question, and corporate events are so important indeed. I don't know. Let's discuss it. Maybe you start this time, yeah. Because you definitely know the corporate event side as well.
Yeah, I see if it's online. So
yeah.
I would probably, if there are more shy people, because usually people are drawn to, or they answer what are the most maybe charismatic people answer or say, and the shy people also stand behind. But then maybe some like questions put outside, and people can choose the answers, and the answers are maybe already given, but you can see where they are, and you don't see like who asks, or the questions are already given, but you don't see like who asks. It's maybe private,
yeah.
But they can really like ask.
Yeah.
So yeah, because sometimes in corporate events, people don't want to interrupt anybody or make a wrong expression, or they are fearful that maybe it impacts their work somehow, or yeah. So maybe to put them like private or anonymous. So
yeah, of course. And with the corporate events and surveys. What I also feel is that sometimes when you work in a corporate, you feel that maybe nothing happens based on your answer. So as a person organizing it and the head of the corporate, I would suggest to clearly say what happens after they have gathered your thoughts and data. And maybe, to make an example, if you are having a big corporate event and asking your employees, what do you want to do with your Fridays? Do you want to come in 1 hour before and go home 1 hour before to have a longer weekend? Do you want to skip lunch and we will deliver lunch at your table? Or, do you want to do sport together? And based on that, they know that something will happen. And I think this is one of the main drivers as well, that people have to feel that something will change if they answer. Because I do feel, I have been in so many surveys working for someone that I don't remember any like a bigger impact that happened.
Any action.
Yes, any action.
Yeah, and then people are disappointed, and then next time they won't be that engaged to answer.
Yeah. So for all the corporate people out there, get things together and just promise what will happen after you gather the data, and people will feel more empowered. Another question. Is it possible to connect with other attendees with Votemo? So you can connect via chat and start chatting. Votemo does not have the video, one-on-one video solution, but in many times Votemo is integrated to a platform that has this solution. So Votemo integrates to all of the great big platforms out there. Conferences are using, like Prella or Talk or Hopin and so on. So you can integrate Votemo there, and they already have this one-on-one virtual events. But yeah, with Votemo you can chat with other people attending. The beauty of virtual is that people can ask questions anonymously or without coming on camera. I think it is important because maybe not all of the questions you want to ask with your face, and also if you are a little bit shy person, then it's not an option at all, I think. But also with this solution that we have and other technologies out there as well, then I think the important part also is that you can hide some questions that, for instance, are rude or something else. So our technology also has a solution where you can choose if you want to pre-approve everything, or if you want to apply a rude word list, or if you want to, or you can hide during the live show the ones that doesn't go together with your event. So I think in that terms as well, it's better than video out there that you can be sure that nothing too rude gets through. But at the same time, it should be everything else should be open, and I believe that people should be allowed to send their feedback, even if it's bad one, just not rude one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have to say that the screen that we are looking for the questions from is a little bit far away from us. So together we are trying to read it currently. Charlotte is asking and saying thanks for the webinar. Kaisi, can you help me with
Yes,
this?
I can ask. As an event organizer, how can I use engagement to build my event brand and make people come back to my events?
Wow, this is a great question. So using engagement to build your brand actually is a whole new, totally new subject that I also really like to talk about. And first, to start, why it's a really great question is that there is data all over there that when people have been engaged with your brand, then for your brand to be a loved brand and a liked brand, it's such a more higher chance. This means that if you plan to grow your brand and marketing with event engagement, I think the best part is to start with the strategy. What do you want to achieve? If it's to increase your brand values, then I would do a strategy and really a tactical plan. And if you are planning it all over one concrete event, let's say it's a bigger conference, then I would start pre-communication, doing marketing that the event is happening. I am speaking there, or our brand ambassador is speaking there. What do you want to hear? What data you want us to bring? What kind of case study you want us to present? And get even like pre-event engagement on place. Then during the event, I would do all of the things mentioned, all the polls, Q&A with some kind of technology out there that will give also a great brand awareness. And I would use the technology that lets you brand everything and make it in your own colors. Votemo does as well, but definitely take a look. There are options out there. And after the event, I would end with the survey, how it all went, what people would like your brand or the speaker or the event to do differently, and also if you did lead generation during the engagement. So it is a solution that when you ask people to answer, you also ask their email, and you can share your thoughts later. So after the event, use the leads generated to give them a really great feedback and data and maybe something that includes your brand. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
If you could do all those things,
yes.
it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great question. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Let's take a look. They are probably okay. It's a great to hear that currently during the live we don't have other questions, and it's totally logical thing as well, because as I said, probably people are gonna watch the recording, and we are prepared to answer questions after the event as well. So all of you watching the recording, please write your questions and your thoughts into Votemo interface. We will answer you there, and let's have a after event communication. And yeah, if you have any questions to us, then you can write via the interface, or I will show you also on the next slide my email there. I can see the results changed a little bit, that people have a lot used also interactivity inside platform like Zoom and Hopin have built in, for instance. And this is great as well. And thank you again sending us the data. And again, when I can see that, for instance, if half of the people watch the recording, the data will start changing in the Votemo interface. So it's great to see, like in 2 weeks, how it changes if everybody has watched the webinar. But thank you. I will quickly also end with the slide just with my contacts. Please do contact me if you have any question, if you need help with this tactical engagement plan or strategy. If you are looking for some coaching, then I will be happy to connect you with Kaisi as well. So thank you everyone for attending, and I hope we will see you soon.